And it is Wednesday once again. Welcome back to Trekyards Russian Briefing, your weekly dose of Star Trek goodness. We look at a ship from this broad, vast sci-fi multiverse, from canon, non-canon, side canon, stone canon, game canon, or even just canon, because there's a ton of ships in the real Star Trek verse. And today is one of those examples of something from the show, which is kind of not necessarily rare at this point, but we like to look at a variety of ships. So what we're looking at today, and yeah.
My guess would be we're looking at a ship. Or is it a shuttle? I don't know. It's kind of small. Today we're looking at a ship that is, I guess, named after the episode. That it's called Alice.
Yes.
Yes, and it's a Voyager episode where Tom Paris is in love with a ship, more or less.
Ooh, and teleplay by Brian Fuller.
Nice.
And Michael Taylor. Yes, Season 6, Episode 5, nearing the latter part of Voyager's run, but it does mean that their CGI was getting progressively better, and this is one of those ones where it was realised in 3D in 1999, so we're near the end of the century. So yeah. So Stuart, what was your... Do you remember the episode Alice, and do you remember the ship design as it is? And obviously, guys, as we always say, this is the real 3D model used in Voyager with the canon scale information as it has. So look forward to some new views of Alice as never seen before in high def.
I vaguely remembered this episode. You kind of gave me a refresher before we started filming.
Yeah.
I remember bits and pieces of it. I don't really remember what the ship looked like, so it's cool to see these. Yeah, it's cool to see these shots for sure. And it is a cool looking little ship. I mean, they've reused this shuttle design a few times, I think, both the interior and exterior. And
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't really remember the episode too much.
This one always stood out to me because of how powerful this little ship was and how advanced in some of its technologies. I mean, as we always say, scale is often a good indicator of power, but things do get smaller as they get more advanced. This is one of those things where it is so small and yet so powerful. And you're right, not this literal model, but a kit bash, altered, recolored version appears often. I'm trying to remember if this is its big first appearance, like it was like the full 3D high. I mean, this is a high detail model because obviously we saw a lot of close-ups. Was then reutilized. Definitely in Enterprise, this was reutilized a few times with pieces chopped and changed. But this is the one I always think of as the iconic appearance of this design, and it was just repurposed because it's somewhat generic. But I do like the color palette. I do like the little details. I do like the very sort of classical shuttle design with a weird greeny blue coating.
Kind of like a turquoise color.
Little fins, cool. And I like the front portion, the very sort of then dramatically rectangle shape. I like the design. It's very simple, but I really think it's a very effective design. And what speaking of scale, what do you think her scale really is?
Like a car size, like 1 or 2 people that could fit in it. You mean like compared to other ships, kind of thing?
Yeah.
Smaller than a Delta Flyer for sure. Yeah. I don't know. Not super big.
It's one of the great ones that actually built the physical prop. They remade it, so it's like it's small enough for them to actually build with budget. But this is for the audience. The next picture is a great little top view with Alice, with the original Type 6, I believe it is, then the Type 9, and then the Voyager escape pod. And it's like, you don't really think of those as being the scales of those ships, do you, when put together? But
so
these are default CG scales.
Wow. I wouldn't expect it to be bigger than the Type 6 there.
I'm guessing it's got more like hull armor and stuff.
Yeah, and it seems a lot wider than I would have thought too. I thought it was more like slimmer from that first picture we saw. It doesn't seem so hippie, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can see it's obviously got the cockpit area, but then actually a ton of technology around it. You know, and the little escape pod there is like, quite small and cute. And a side view, it feels even smaller. It's like, oh
yeah, well, the side view looks better to me than the top one did, because like I said, it's so much wider than I anticipated. Cool.
No conventional warp engines.
No, that's true.
Well, yeah, can it go to warp? I mean, we assume everything can go to some sort of faster than light. Don't remember if they talk about that in the episode or not.
I would hope it would. I mean, otherwise, it's kind of.
But like I say, it's more advanced than stuff that we have, and we'll go into that in a minute. So it's kind of like transwarp, slipstream. I mean, it could be that advanced.
Yeah.
Or coaxial warp, as Death's ship goes. And I'm looking forward to look at that ship. It's a cool design. But the next picture is with a Delta Flyer. Although, as we know, the Delta Flyer does sometimes change scales. This is again the default scale.
Yeah.
And we know that not all the rooms in the Delta Flyer necessarily fit in the Delta Flyer. So it's kind of like, Delta Flyer.
Take it with a grain of salt, or a shaker full of salt.
Or just an ever-changing amount of salt, depending on the episode.
A salt flat. Lots of salt. Yeah, I mean, it's a cool looking little ship, I gotta say. I don't know. From the side view, like compared to the Delta Flyer, even the Next Generation shuttle just seems too small.
It does, doesn't it?
It does.
But it is just a box. It's a box with the wheels, and obviously they had to build it in reality. Did they build a real Type 9 shuttle? Or is it just the back, and obviously the internal, but I don't know if they ever built the outside of the Type 9.
I believe they might have.
I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
I don't know. But the next picture, we're back to the episode, or into the episode screen caps. Obviously, they found the ship. That's the real size. It's pretty damn small, and he cleaned it and he brought it back to life because he saw it. I remember he saw it in the asteroid, or the wreckage field, or I guess the junkyard field. And he was like, I like that ship. And that was part of the plan. It was Alice wanted a new owner, wanted something to actually get her to where she was going, because I remember the junkyard leader tried to use Alice, but his species wasn't capable of really working with her special systems, because the ship isn't just a ship, it's something a bit more special. The next picture, you can see it as a practical shuttle.
I gotta say, I think I don't mean to say this is a bad thing, but I think your scale charts were wrong for the TNG shuttle. Because if you go back and look at that picture of him with the shuttle, and then look at the scale chart again, I think that the TNG shuttle is way too small.
As I always say, the default scale based on the CG models, if they made it too small, they made it too small. I just loaded in the light rig because lights are always set to how they want them.
Yeah, I just wanted to point that out, though, so people aren't screaming at us in the comments. So is this a shot from the actual show?
He's obviously on something, obviously.
Yes. But I'm just looking at cockpit window size and stuff. It just doesn't. So the next shot with the in the shuttle bay, that's the actual shot from the show, right?
Yeah, the practical shuttle bay, the practical shuttle, and it's like they obviously had a pretty good reference material to build it in 3D, because it's like, we have literal shuttle, and you can actually see we've got the internal actually as part of the external. You don't often see that. Even obviously the TNG shuttle did that, but it's like, oh, that's pretty unusual. And again, it feels small but big, but it's hard to tell really.
Yeah, it's not a big ship though. Really,
I love it being all inside and outside, and it's interesting how. Do you think those are the landing legs? Like, it's got 4, I guess we're 6 if you look at the other side. Are those landing legs the shuttles, or is it sitting on things?
Good question. Could just be on, like, things we could work on the bottom of it, because I think it would probably land on its belly. Would make more sense than have landing legs like that. So it could just be that it's like a car, it's up on a hoist, so that he could work on it. Would be my guess.
Or then you have to then climb into it. I don't think there's a ramp or anything. There's a door at the back, but.
I think we put too much thought into these things. That's what I think.
Speaking of the back view, which we haven't really seen yet, and there you go. Lots of nice engines. You can see the door at the back just sort of slides down, or I guess maybe opens up. I kind of don't remember. Again, I really like this model. I was kind of impressed by how detailed it is, but again, it got very close to it. For Voyager time, they didn't do the most detailed models. But it's got, I guess, 4 sublight, 2 non-sublight, or 4 sublight, and then it creates an energy bubble separately.
Yeah. I was kind of getting the vibe that the four smaller ones were the sublight ones, and the other ones on the outside were like kind of like a standard nacelle almost, but kind of shrouded a little bit with other stuff.
What do you think about possibly the engine modules, like Firefly, being able to articulate and have, you know, do a 180 each and then do reverse thrust? So they're on that sort of pivot points.
No, I think it would make sense. It's definitely doable with where they are mounted there. So yeah, whether they do that or not, probably not. But I think that would be kind of cool. I could see it doing that for sure.
And it would speak to me a more advanced shuttle. You know, has the articulation. You know, you want aft weapons. Well, you reroute engine power to only the four middle ones. You rotate the weapons. Boom, you got aft firing weapons. And then you do a little bang and it turns, and you follow the. You know, it'd be cool.
Oh, see, that's cool. Yeah, dogfight.
Yeah, absolutely. And the bottom view, the least important view you could say in CG, because I don't know if we ever saw this view, but they did include some potential landing leg bits. Cool.
Very simple, but yeah, I do like the little landing gear touches there. Whether those actually extend very far, or just a little bit, or not at all, maybe there's just repulsor areas.
Yep.
Hard to say, but. Next shot's a shot of it from the.
Just like the angle.
Yeah. Kind of aggressive looking. I mean, the blockiness of the front part is nice in a way, but in the same way, it's like not right. It needs to be kind of aerodynamic out a little bit. I kind of like the way it looks as is, but I can see changing it would make it look a little bit more meaner, more advanced.
Would it be cool if that was a cannon, like a for example, again, I always think this is quite an advanced ship. So imagine if it was like interconnected pieces, then it just sort of holographically opened up, and there's a big cannon there. And it's like, what the hell? How is there space for that? But no, it's that advanced. That's its primary big gun. That kind of explains the blockiness.
I don't know. I don't know if I like that.
Okay.
I don't think that would work for me.
Okay. Fair enough.
It's probably just sensors and stuff in there.
Yeah. Or shield grid. So just like it needs a forward, whatever. And the next view is a close-up of the cannon and the fins. I love the little blue glows. Like, it's super simple, but I like the shape. It's not a. It just adds to it, really, doesn't it?
It's got that hot rod vibe that we know that Tom Paris likes.
Yep.
He likes the Camaro.
And
the Camaro. Now, you said this thing could take on Voyager in a fight. And be,
well, sort of.
I'd like to know what kind of weapon systems it has, because it doesn't look like standard phasers or anything. They look pretty powerful.
Well, let me go back to this. So, if you go to the next picture, you can see the internal, and that gives a little bit of hint to, and we'll skip to the next picture for a second. You can see the speciality, which we got to see then in Endgame, was the callback to this technology-wise. Like, we were progressing into that way. It has a bio interface, the point where it connects through Tom's suit. But if you go back to the main cockpit, we can see the sort of scaling. But yes, it had a neurogenic interface which allowed the pilot to physically bond with the alien ship's computer. When the pilot was seated, a brace would extend from the headset of the pilot's chair halfway around the pilot's head. This would allow the alien ship to read the pilot's thoughts. It also had multiphasic shielding and an optronic weapons array capable of firing pulses which were capable of disrupting tractor beams. I mean, it effortlessly stopped Voyager from going after it, sort of thing, almost. You know. And apparently, it's the phaser cannon are optronically targeted. Says, or something else was that, but metaphasic shielding is pretty advanced stuff.
Well, it's a cool concept. I mean, to become one with the ship, basically. You and the AI basically working together without any delay between thought, action, and, physical, like, thought, button pushing, and actual movement. I mean, just to negate all that instantly is awesome.
Well, it's always not confusing, but, the captain's role is to give orders and make judgment calls. But in a situation where in a battle, is the tactical officer really waiting for the captain to fire every torpedo? It's like, are you just waiting until they say fire? Okay, fire. Oh, Captain, can I fire 3 more torpedoes? Yes, you can.
That's why they say fire at will. That
Okay,
means
good.
you have control over what you're doing right there until I tell you to stop.
And same thing. I mean, shield modulation. I mean, does every order actually have to be given? What if they do something that isn't part of the command chain? Where does the buck of that stop? Whereas, it goes beyond just instant commands being given when Tom has been sort of taken. I mean, he has been taken by this. The first time he uses the interface just as a tester, it changes his brain chemistry and it becomes where he sees her visibly physically via his via his brain, and she's influencing him to take her to this special anomaly thing, which she thinks the ship thinks will transcend her into being more than just a ship. She's a very either crazy / hyper advanced AI. But when he's connected to the ship, they're traveling at ultra fast warp, I believe, or just fast for a shuttle. I mean, he sees what the ship sees, and we see it as part of like a nebula, and so it's not just responding quickly. He can actively feel the ship's sensors, so he can then understand the telemetry, read things. He can both detect long range sensors, see the tactical patterns, and then react. Almost quicker than he's thinking it, because subconscious works as well. So it's so instant. You talk about remodulation with a Borg. I mean, if you can remodulate every partial second, every 3.1 milliseconds, keep resonating and then try and, there's such a powerful potential that technology. Obviously we're on this cockpit page. But what do you think about the size of this cockpit? Because it's hyper minimalist. I mean, they had to build it. So they built it simple, but I think that's design.
Well, I think for a single person ship where you're, working with the AI, it's beautiful. You're a small target, and it's very only what you need is there, which is great. And again, it goes back to that scaling. I think that one size was wrong, but anyway.
But it also makes you realize, there's literally nothing there. It's a chair and an interface. Where's the I mean, there's maybe a bathroom on those panels, but the door's right behind that. I mean, what is this craft designed for? At least the shuttles in Voyager and TNG, they had a compartment. They had, it could sort of be a bed. It could sort of be I mean, there's things. This is even minimalist. I mean, what is the point of the shuttle craft?
Well, now we do see on this suit he's got the tubes going in.
Yeah.
So could it be that those aren't just control interfaces?
Oh, right.
Maybe those are just life sustaining as well. So he doesn't have to use the toilet. I don't know. He's not eating food necessarily.
No, that's true. Yeah, if you're being fed by chemicals. Yeah, that's really interesting. And if you're just living your life traveling as part of the ship,
and maybe like we've speculated before, maybe there's a transporter system that just transports the stuff right out of your bowels just into space. You don't have to worry about going to the washroom.
Yep. But I mean, is this? It doesn't feel like a passenger ship. It feels like almost this race.
It feels like a fighter.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it feels like a fighter ship for sure.
Or like this alien race is. Their standard means of travel is exploration, but or living with their machines, and so the way they travel is just, I want to go somewhere. Okay, I go on board my ship, and now I'm sustained for the next 6 months. The AI keeps my brain occupied and stuff, and it's just almost an extension of their body. There's a great Star Wars book which is set in one of the few that's set in the of the era. I mean, because the prequels weren't great. It was set in between episodes 2 and 3, I believe. And there's this amazing planet which then appears later on. That's why they sort of did the prequel to it. And it's where the Jedi went to build a hyper incredible organic ship. And it was custom grown to their biology, their brain patterns, bonded with them. And so not only was this amazing neural interface, but also because it was an extension of you, it was even more. And obviously Jedi Starfighter is good in itself, and Jedi's are the best meant to be the best pilots. So you add that with the most perfect organic ship. And they and everyone both lost their ship. But I remember, it was so custom done for them. It's like if they'd kept them, that's just them in ship form, or almost, or their pet, or their, So this is kind of like I can imagine the race would be spacefaring, but this is just the spaceship version of them, And maybe this Alice creature is actually the embodiment of who was the pilot. Is AI, but it's them. And the pilot died years ago, and wants to ascend like the pilot maybe did.
I like that, yeah. Because it would take on traits of its...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'd buy that. I'd buy that for $1.
Speaking of $1, it's not at all speaking of $1. The next picture is the fan side view. It shows you how much stuff is in here and what's where. Huh.
So yeah, that front part is a navigational deflector.
God, those warp coils are teeny.
Yeah. Those outer nacelles are the warp reaction chamber and stuff. Anti-deuterium. Ooh.
A lot of stuff packed in this one.
Yeah. Although I think there's one mislabeled thing. If you look at the hatch, labeled hatch, it's pointing to this little thing at the bottom. Looks like a little sensor almost.
But anyway, let's go back to this first picture. Brand new render of the model using 1999. So, closing thoughts on the Alice ship from the Alice episode from the Voyager series.
Cool little ship. I really like the shapes. It does look very... I wouldn't say it looks super advanced, but it looks very fighter-ish, very maneuverable, very hot roddy, like Tom Paris would like. It's an interesting ship. It's got what I gotta say.
And it's one of those weird ones that it had to be built practically, so they were limited by the curves. But also, I mean, the 1909 isn't exactly the Stone Age. I mean, they could build better things for cheaper than they could for TNG. So it's in that weird like in between stuff. It's not hyper boxy. It's got some nice shapes, but it also still cheap in a sense. So it comes up with quite an interesting. Like you can tell that box at the front is just crap. Let's put a box there. You know what I mean? But it kind of works. It's a strange. I do think greater than some of its parts, and the potential of what this, like we just went to at the end there, what this technology could be, what the story of this race could be. That is way more intriguing. I was always intrigued by it. That story is more interesting almost than the Alice storyline. And this ship, so generic and yet so much potential. You know?
Yeah. I would like to learn more about the race that created it for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, what do you think of Alice? Did you like that episode? Put in the comments below. Let us know what your thoughts are on this whole episode and this whole ship. We would love to know, I'm sure. Also, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, as that really helps out the channel and the algorithm and YouTube and all that jazz. And subscribe so you don't miss any more. Anymore. If you just subscribe so you don't miss any Trekyards or Fleet Yards. We got lots of cool stuff all the time. Always pushing the boundaries of what we can show you guys and really having great discussions. And
if you want to support this show directly and give you more renders of great original ships like this, which we absolutely love to do, then support us in two great ways. Either a single donation at trekyards.com, click the donate button and give a little bit. If you want to say, job well done, guys, then $10, $15, 20, 100, whatever you want to give, and we thank you for that in advance. Or if you want to become a Patreon, a lot of YouTubers rely on Patreon as their backbone of what they do, because it's a guaranteed income each and every month to allow us to not have real jobs, or at least me and then you half a job, to do this and keep working and keep bringing cool stuff like this. And then support some Patreon if you want to, a little bit each and every month, 5, 10, 15, 20 bucks a month. It all mounts up. If enough of you do, it can make a ridiculous difference. So if you can, please do. And if you can't, just share. And if you think fans enjoyed Voyager and the Alice episode, then just share them to them and say, hey, watch this and see new renders like never seen before.
That's right. So until next time, guys, I'm Captain Foley.
I am Commander Gongs.
See you later.